Hello everyone and welcome to the world of watches. There are many reasons why watches are interesting at the least and up to truly amazing at the most. Since this is a beginner's video about watches, I will tell you the most important basics to get you started. This includes the most popular brands you often hear about and the different types of watches that are available. My name is Onur Karaman. Thank you for tuning in. And now let's get down to it. Brands. Let's just get an overview of the most known watch brands and what they are known for. Rolex. Rolex was originally founded in the year 1905 in London, England, and is now based in Geneva, Switzerland. Rolex is a 120-year-old watch company which has done a lot of pioneering work, such as the first waterproof wristwatch and the standard dive watch design, which is still used to this day by Rolex and many other watch companies. The most popular models from Rolex are the Submariner, the Daytona, the Datejust and the GMT Master. Each model comes in many different variations and each variation has a different level of rarity and value. Rolex watches are generally expensive and will cost you at least $6,000 and can go up to $20,000. Casio. Casio was founded in Tokyo, Japan in the year 1946, which makes it an 80-year-old watch company. Casio is most known for its popular digital watches, most notably for the shock-resistant G-Shock and the F91W models, which also come in many different colors and variations. Casio watches are very popular because of their high practicality and the retro feeling which they still carry to this day. A Casio watch is generally affordable and will rarely cost you more than $300. Omega. Omega was founded in Switzerland in the year 1848, which makes it a 180-year-old company. Omega is mostly known for its Speedmaster watch, which was famously worn during the Apollo moon missions in the 1960s, and is therefore named the Moon Watch. Other popular models from Omega are the Seamaster and the Globemaster. A watch from Omega will usually cost you somewhere between $6,000 to $10,000. Patek Philippe. Patek was also founded in Switzerland in the year 1839, which makes it a 185-year-old company. In other words, Patek is almost 2 centuries old. Patek is known for its technical achievements, such as showing the calendar day on your wristwatch or improving the mechanical components to such a level that Patek is by now known for its world-class reputation of accuracy and reliability. The most popular watches from Patek are the Nautilus, which starts at around $30,000, the Calatrava, which is starting at $20,000, and the Aquanaut, which also starts at $20,000. So yes, Patek is one of the most expensive watch brands. Cartier. The next brand we have is Cartier. Cartier was founded and is still based in Paris, France. Cartier is by now a 180-year-old watch company which was founded in the year 1847. Historically, Cartier is mostly known for supporting the transition from pocket watches to wristwatches. The most popular models from Cartier are the Cartier Tank and the Cartier Santos. Cartier watches are usually expensive and range from $5,000 to $10,000. Seiko. Seiko was founded and is still based in Tokyo, Japan. It is a 143-year-old watch company established in the year 1881. Seiko is a very popular watch brand among watch enthusiasts like myself. Seiko was the company which originally invented the quartz, or let's say the battery-based watch. But Seiko is doing much more than just quartz watches. Seiko has many different product lines such as Seiko 5, Seiko Prospex or Seiko Presage. The price for a Seiko watch generally ranges from $300 to $1,000 US. So, as you can see, the most popular watch brands are A, from Switzerland, and B, expensive. Casio and Seiko are the only watch brands which are from Japan, but on a popularity level, on an eye-to-eye level with the Swiss watches. Basic knowledge. Now that we have talked about some of the most popular watch brands, we are ready to go over the watch basics which you need to know when it comes to how watches work. Movement. The very foundational piece of a watch is the movement. Movement is a watch term which is used to describe how the watch is moving or ticking. You can generally separate into quartz and automatic movements. Quartz movements are based on battery power and can run up to 2 years, after which you will need to replace the battery with a new one. Automatic movements are based on the power which is produced by a mechanical component called the mainspring. Mainsprings are charged when you naturally move your wrist and can power up your movement for up to 3 days in case you leave it still, for instance, on a table. For watch fans, quartz movements are less popular than automatic movements. That's because quartz movements are widely regarded as not as sophisticated as automatic movements. But people generally forget that in a quartz movement only a single part is replaced by a battery when compared with an automatic movement. Quartz movements are, in my opinion, very cool, and when you get deeper into how they work, you would probably love them also. Automatic movements are awesome for the craftsmanship which they represent. Most automatic movements have a glass on their case backs so that you can look inside or look at the movement. I spent many minutes just looking at the movement of my watch, and I loved every second of it. Terminology. There are a few specific words which are used in the world of watches. You already heard what movement means, but another important term are hands. These are the long indicators which point to the current time of your watch. You have an hour hand, a minute hand, and a seconds hand. The hands are placed on top of a dial. The dial is basically the background color or the background texture of your watch. Seiko, for instance, is known for having awesome looking dials. Next, you have the crown. The crown is the part which lets you adjust the time on your watch. Then there is the Cyclops window. That term is used for the small magnifying glass which is positioned on top of the date window of your watch. Rolex is usually associated with Cyclops windows, but by today many other watch brands are doing some form of a Cyclops window as well. There are many other watch terms out there, and you will learn them all with time. But the last ones I will give you are bracelets and straps. Bracelets are the metal bands around your wrist, whereas straps are the more comfy and softer silicone bands, which you can put on a watch. Watch types. There are different types of watches, and each type originally had its own purpose. But most people today don't really care about the functionality of a watch type. Today, most people pick a watch type primarily because of its design. Let's start with probably the most popular watch type, which is called the dive watch. You can immediately recognize a dive watch by the bezel which is on top of the watch case. You see that on the bezel you have minute markers from 0 up to 60 minutes. The bezel is there to measure time, and when you want to measure how much time has passed since a given point, you turn the triangle of the bezel to such a position that it aligns perfectly with the minute hand of your watch. Then, after a few minutes, when you want to know how much time has passed since, all you need to do is to check your wristwatch and see where the minute hand is pointing now on the bezel. Another standard feature of the dive watch is the lume effect. Lume is a chemical substance which will commonly glow in green after it has been charged by sunlight. Again, when dive watches were first invented, lume was important for reading time when you're diving deep in the dark ocean. The next watch type we are looking at is the chronograph. You can easily identify a chronograph just by looking at it. You see at least two subdials placed on top of the dial of the watch. One of those subdials just shows the seconds which are passing by while your watch is ticking, whereas the other subdial is measuring how much time has passed since you activated the special stopwatch function. You see, the main function of a chronograph watch is also to measure time. Originally, chronographs were meant to measure the speed of any object. That's why you commonly see the tachymeter on the bezel of a chronograph. Let's say, for example, that you want to know how fast a car is moving. You start the countdown function of the chronograph at the same time as when the car is starting to move. And you stop after the car has driven exactly 1 kilometer. And yes, you always measure by the kilometer with tachymeters. After you have stopped your countdown function, you just look at your watch and check where the stopped countdown hand is pointing at on the tachymeter bezel. The bezel will tell you how fast the car has moved in hours per kilometer. Next, we have GMT watches. These watches are also easy to identify. A GMT watch looks just like a dive watch, but instead of minute markers from 1 to 60, you have hour markers from 1 to 24. Also, you have two separate hour hands on the dial. A GMT watch was originally invented for measuring the time in two places at once. I personally never met anybody in my life who used a GMT watch for its original purpose. And I'm personally convinced that people buy GMT watches just because of their cool design. And finally, we have the classic type watches. These types of watches generally have no rotating bezel or any other function aside from just showing the time. What you sometimes see with classic type watches is a decentralized seconds hand or a tourbillon. Tourbillons are basically a cutout of the dial to see the inner movement of the watch. Tourbillons are also called open heart watches. Classic watches are very popular and usable in many scenarios. And this is it. We have covered the watch brands, the watch terminology, and the different types of watches and what they originally meant. You now have a pretty decent idea of how the watch world is made up. If you have any questions or comments on what I have talked about, please let us know in the comments below. And also, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. Thank you for watching and see you on the next video.